Right, welcome back. Are your chips down today? Feeling down in the dumps and probably wishing someone will swing your way that pick-me-up book with a magical wand to change your mood? Do you feel like your life has dealt you a crappy hand of cards, always chasing after your own tail? Well, I got someone to cheer you up today. I'll bring that thing back to your step. He's the director of Great Life Clinic Limited, a life coach and a motivational speaker. Felix, good to see you today.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So tell me, how did you get started?
Well, I started writing a long time ago, when I was about class 8. Wrote a book on some exercise books and got to a point, I sat back and said, okay, who would read something from a class 8 boy? So I actually threw it in the dustbin and forgot about it. But later on in life, as I went on, just about 2009, I kind of just rekindled the love for writing, and I started writing. So I did my first book in 2009. That is more of a Christian living book.
Right.
Yeah. But in later on in 2010, that's when I actually started piecing together what now today has become The Quest for Greatness, my current book. And yeah, it's been a journey of about 2 years, just putting together articles and finally just getting a framework within which to place all of them into a format that is now a book. Yeah.
So when did you exactly now branch out to life coaching and motivational speaking? You started off as a writer?
Yes, yes.
So when was the branch out?
That was in 2010.
2010.
Yeah, when I realized my life mission is to help people be the best they can be, using coaching, writing, and speaking. Now, when I got into coaching, I talked to a friend of mine, a motivational speaker called Anthony Gitong, a very good friend, and he was already doing coaching. And when he showed me the curriculum, and I said, well, this is actually what I've been looking for. And it puts all the other things in perspective. So I got interested, shopped around for a school, finally settled on a virtual school in Australia, which took me about 6 months to do the course, coaching course. Finished that, then signed up for membership with the International Coach Federation. And yeah, here I am today.
So you're a certified coach?
Yes.
So were you doing this online, or did you
fly
to Australia?
No, we're doing this online. It's a virtual school, so I just did it from Nairobi here.
Right. Now, tell me, you're also an author, founder of Great Clinic Limited, Greatness Clinic Limited, the director of At Dominion Values Limited, and Wide Shoes Collections. Your portfolio is really impressive. And I'm wondering, yes, how do you get to juggle all these frogs?
Well, when you're passionate about it, when you're passionate about things, it helps you stay on top and be able just to juggle a lot of things. Somebody said a great life, like a great ship, should not be held by a single rope. So it's the same way, just trying to actualize myself, attain the greatness to which I've been called. So part of it is Dominion Values, which is what I studied in college. But right now I'm actually on a transition, and that's where now the Greatness Clinic comes in, which is now a vehicle to help people be the best they can be, to help organizations improve their organizational effectiveness and attain some of their goals. And of course, again, also I'm a director at Wide Shoe Collection, which is basically a store that deals with ladies' big and extra wide fitting shoes, a niche that we've carved out for ourselves.
So is it a case of casting your bread upon the waters? After many days, you'll find yourself. Okay, let's move on and we talk about now your book, The Quest for Greatness. Interesting read, I must say. What really prompted you to actually come up with such a title?
There's a quote by a great man called Zig Ziglar, who said that we are designed for accomplishment. We are engineered for success, and we're endowed with the seed of greatness. And out of that, I realized that each and every one of us who comes onto this scene, onto the stage that the world is actually endowed with the seed of greatness. Each of us, knowingly or unknowingly, we are out on a quest for greatness, to fulfill that unique mandate or unique calling that we have upon our lives when we come into this world. So that's why I came up with the title, The Quest for Greatness.
Right. There is an interesting advert that normally runs in the media and the television. It says there is a drop of greatness in every man. Do you believe that?
Sure, I believe that with all of my heart. None of us, like it's been said, you probably have heard this, that God makes no junk. All of us come into this.
God
makes no junk. Yeah, all of us come into this world with a specific assignment that demands fulfillment, and the dividing line is the kind of choices that we make. Some actually choose to pursue their greatness and live out their greatness and make a unique contribution in this world and leave the world better than they found it. Some others, whether knowingly or not, choose the other direction and go to the grave, like somebody said, with their music still in them. Yeah.
Right. Finding your specific assignment, as you say, that remains to be such a holy grail, don't you think? For some people, of course, there are some people who've really found the assignment in life, but for others, even at the age of 60, you're still finding out who you are. What is your specific assignment?
It's interesting. It's actually a journey. And like you're saying, for others, even as late as the age of 60s or even going into 70s, they're yet to really find out what they were made to be. Why are you here? And interesting is like the founder of KFC, Colonel Sanders. This guy at 65 years old, having retired from the army, he actually started working on something that he did well, chicken sandwiches, and finally got together what we have now today as KFC. I think they made the entry here the other day, and people are really going crazy about it. But this guy at 65, he realized, hey, I've not made my mark. And so the secret is that even at 65 or 75, you can actually latch on to your purpose and be all that you were made to be.
Even Rick Kroc, I think, started off at the age of 60 with the McDonald's. So it's not about your age. You can actually, it's a lifelong thing to really find your assignment, isn't it?
That's right.
Right. Let's move on and we talk about your book a bit. Your first chapter, you start with a very interesting topic. You say that there is no sudden flight to greatness. The heights by great men kept and achieved were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, that is more informed by, and I really love that quote. And it's more informed by the fact that we live in a fast-paced world. I mean, microwave, fast work. People literally want to get there overnight. It looks like it's all the rave. I mean, you start today. There's some stories that really sell in the media. A young man who starts a company and within 2 years raised it to about $20 million and gets a check from Microsoft or Google, sells much better than maybe a lady who goes through a business for 15 years, builds it into an enduring business that transcends the generations. And that talks to the fact that as human beings, we mostly want to arrive there fast. We mostly want to circumvent the process, most of the people. You find there's this, I don't know whether to call it an innate trait, that people want to arrive there. People know, they know the pinnacle, they know the summit of their aspirations, they know where they want to get. But sometimes people want to arrive there overnight. So that's why I titled it No Sudden Flight to Greatness. If you are to attain greatness, there's not going to be a fast ride to greatness. It's a process. There's a process to it. I mean, look all around. Look at Usain Bolt. Look at Tiger Woods. All the greats. If you went back and did some research on them, you'd find that they didn't arrive there overnight. Much as Usain Bolt might look to have just shot from the woods, literally, he didn't arrive there overnight. And that is something I think we need in this day and age, where things are just so fast-paced that people want to attain success, people want to attain greatness overnight, and in the process, circumvent the process that informs the pursuit of greatness.
Do you think sometimes maybe we're afraid to go through the rigors and the rigmarole of hard work to really attain that?
In a sense, yes. Because really, for you to attain greatness, for you to get to the pinnacle or the summit of your aspirations, it's going to take a lot of sweat. And maybe not literally sweat in that sense, but it's going to take long hours writing. I read about Henry Wordsworth, Longfellow, when he wrote one of his best pieces, they're saying he redid it 39 times. Farewell to Arms. He did that 39 times. He wrote it 39 times for him to get the final piece that really won him acclaim. But most of the times we want to sit down, maybe do a book, write it on the first writing, and pop, it's a bestseller. But it hardly happens like that. And so people just need to understand that there's going to be hard work involved. If you want to be the best in your field, it's going to take you a lot of sacrifice. Possibly when your friends are having a good time, you'd have to be bunkered somewhere, putting in the long hours for you to get the kind of class that you want.
So for the people who are going through the cycle of crushing disappointment, maybe in their career, or they're maybe submitting their applications, you know, they're giving it the first step, but they're being turned away. They should not give up. You know, it takes a while for you to really break through. It takes many attempts. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. You may not hit it on the first go, but that shouldn't disappoint you. That shouldn't put you down, because sometimes you might have to have a few goes at it before you actually nail it. But I think again, it's not just about not getting disappointed, but also realizing that you need to take the learnings as you fail to hit the mark. You need to come back and reevaluate and say, okay, fine, what could I do differently? What could I possibly, maybe I'm not up to speed on what are the requirements. So it's also understanding the game, not just because you failed this time, you go at it again. You need to go at it again, but go at it differently than you went at it in the first place. Yeah.
Right. Chapter 7, chasing your pension or your passion. The biggest mistake people make in life is not trying to make a living at what they enjoy. And, well, my question to you is, where do you think a lot of Kenyans fall into? Is it in their pension or in their passion? Lots of them actually are waking up right now, but they're not feeling their career. They're not feeling that where they are right now is a place where they're meant to be. They're not really in the element right now. Are they just going for their pension, or is their passion?
Interesting question. The fact is, a lot of our people are caught up in this. You find growing up, possibly your dad really impressed on you. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, be this and that. Which possibly sometimes reflects their aspirations for you as a kid. And nothing wrong with that. But along the way, the tragedy is that a lot of us get caught up in that. And so you find maybe you have musicians in doctor's skin. So the guy is just going through the motions. He's not really enjoying what he's doing, but he's just doing it because it's paying the bills. He's just doing it because it brings home the bacon. But we need to get to a level as a society when people exercise the liberty to follow that which really tugs at their hearts, that which really makes you come alive. I read an interesting quote from a 18th century clergyman. He said, do not ask what the world requires of you. Ask what makes you come alive and go and do it. Because what the world needs is men who have come alive. And you find most of the times people are caught up in jobs or caught up in occupations for which they really don't have a passion. They're just chasing it or hanging in there because they've got the passion tied to that. They've got bills and whatnot to take care of, but it's not really bringing them joy. So what do you have? A lot of disengagement. These are the guys possibly who look at the clock to know when they can stop. But if you're really engaged in something that you really love, you actually look at the clock, not to see when you can stop, but to see how much time you've got to squeeze in more. So I think I know there's been a lot of improvement and people just plugging into what they really love. If it's music, if it's writing like I'm doing, whatever it is that you really love and really draws at your heart, we get into a level where people are realizing, hey, even if I fail pursuing what I really love, that in itself is success.
Right. Maybe they're looking at you right now. They're wondering, easier said than done. You know, we are not really spoiled for choice here. We've been drawn into this vortex of the kind of work that we're having right now because there are no jobs. In Kenya, there are no jobs. And you just take what really comes your way first to just maybe put that food on the table.
Definitely. I mean, somebody out there might say, well, it's easier said than done. But again, like I've been in land property valuation as a land economist. That's what I studied in college for about 14 years now. But sometime in 2009, I actually realized, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what really makes me come alive. This is what really brings out the passion within me. I can do it and not be paid.
So was there any flash of interest for you from the frontier days that you knew I want to do valuation, what I'm doing right now, or venturing into the real estate? Did you even have an inkling inside of you that, yes, this is what I want to do?
No. Well, it's an interesting story because how I got into land economics, just to make it short, came through college, through secondary school. This was a secondary school that played more of basketball, was known more for basketball than academics. So the career teacher really didn't think much about us, just gave us the choices. Here you are, left us to our own devices. And my parents also didn't know better. So I made the choices. Then I was doing economics, and I said, okay, wanted to do engineering at that point. I've made 3 choices. Then this last choice, there's something here, land and economics. I think I could choose this. So I chose that. In my lack of understanding, put it first. So I put it first. Then I finished secondary school, got called land economics, and I was so disappointed. Never been that disappointed in my life. I've said the moment I landed Nairobi University, the first thing I'm doing is getting out of this course.
So the Joint Admission Board were actually detecting what you should be doing. And that's what we really have in most of our graduates here. This is not the first or maybe the first choice of career they wanted. But because JAB really said, no, this is the way to go, they need it right now. And they're frustrated.
And so I did it. But down the line, as I was going through it, I just had an interest in working with people. Human and organizational performance issues, performance management, just working with people. So, but I couldn't find a framework to put in that. So land economics has been good. It's brought me to where I am today. But sometime in 2009, traveled out of the country and attended a luncheon for a client. Picked up a magazine at an airport lobby, and there was just an article there that was provided for me a kind of an aha moment. And I said, this is what I've been looking for all through the years of college, that I wasn't finding a framework to put it in. And that's how now I got into coaching. That's how now I reactivated my writing. And so I'm pursuing it. I'm actually evolving from one career to another. And this is now what I feel my life purpose is about.
Right. You stated you're a certified professional life coach. What does it take for someone to be a certified professional life coach, especially in Kenya?
In Kenya. Well, you need to go to a coaching school. There are a couple of coaching schools locally. I must state that coaching is still a pretty new profession, both globally and much more locally. So there are a couple of schools around that you could actually go to for you to do a training in coaching. Takes anywhere between 6 months to 1 year, depending on the school you go to. After that, then now you either earn the designation, a certified professional coach like myself, or depending on what kind of designation that particular school has. So you need to get a college. But again, also the important thing is to get a school that is affiliated with a global body that brings together coaches, which is the International Coach Federation. So it's important, yes, to get a go back to school, yes, but it's important also to check that the school is actually accredited by the International Coach Federation, which brings together coaches globally.
Right now, what we're lacking in Kenya is proper structures for such trainings in the country, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry nowadays is a motivational speaker. You know, maybe you've been frustrated in life, but you think, okay, this may be the easiest avenue. Well, it's the easiest way to really make a living.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you this, coming from a real estate background, I've seen a lot of that, and now I have the privilege to sit on the estate agents registration board, and we've seen a lot of that because people just come out of the woodwork, and since they failed elsewhere, or they hear people are making it in estate agency, in property, so they come in and you've got all these people saying, oh, I'm an estate agent, but they've not really gone through the process and gotten the requirements to practice as an estate agent. They're not even licensed. So the same thing is happening in coaching, and you have people just coming up all over the place and saying, okay, I'm a coach, I'm a life coach, I'm this and another coach, which is all right. But if you realize that's what you want to do, that's where your passion lies, it's okay to name yourself a coach, but the most important thing would be then to get back to a school, get some certification that helps you to build up on that framework. You have the passion, yes, you feel you've got the talent, but it's good to get into a school that helps you to expound on that and also plugs you in with the rest of the coaching community. So that's what we're trying to do also. Actually, right now we're in the process of setting up a local chapter for the International Coach Federation, and I happen to be part of the team that is steering that. And we're realizing as a profession grows, we need some regulatory framework such that you don't have just anybody standing up today and saying, hey, I'm a coach. And they're unleashed out there to a public that sometimes does not really have a place of, let's say, if you have a complaint today against a coach, possibly maybe they have some professional issues, maybe misconduct, or maybe they're not really ethical as coaches, you can actually report to the local chapter of the International Coach Federation, which you're in the process of formulating. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you say that motivational speaking or life coaching has not really gained currency in the country, but other parts of the world, I think it's really gained traction right now. What is the disparity? Why in America it's such a runaway success? It's a big industry. Where are we at in this country right now?
As far as coaching goes, we actually at a pretty formative stage. I attended a conference last year in International Coaching Federation conference last year in Las Vegas, and I talked to somebody and they were saying 15 years ago in America, when they used to say you're a coach, people would actually would ask which sport. But he says now when he says he's a coach, people actually say we've got a budget for it. So I think in Kenya right now, and just with the light touch, we're more or less at that kind of position. Sometimes you say you're a coach, and people actually ask you, so which sport do you coach? But we're gradually getting to the level where people actually are getting to say, okay, oh, you're a coach. We've got a budget for it. We've got an allocation for this. We actually need this service as an important tool to help us attain both personal and organizational effectiveness.
Right. Standing on the shoulders of giants. So which shoulders are you standing on? Of course, going by the many quotes that I've seen you quoting in your book, I can hazard a guess. The late Jim Rohn?
Yeah. That's a kind of a mentor to me, a great man. And I think talking about just standing on the shoulders of giants, a dwarf on a giant's shoulder can see much farther than the giant. And that's the basic premise behind that, that for you to really attain much more than what has already been done, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Whatever it is you're involved in, there are people who have gone down that road before. Learn from their successes, learn from their failures. It helps a great deal to cut the learning curve for you. Most of the problems we have is people get into a field like coaching, for instance, and you think like you just a law to yourself. You have got to beat your own track, important as that might be, then you find we've got a lot of messes. It takes you a whole lot of time for you to get to the pinnacle or for you to get to the summit of your aspirations as a coach, as a motivational speaker, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel. While actually there are people who have done marvelously in the same fields before, from whom you can learn, know what pitfalls to avoid, know what to hit, and just help you on your path. Yeah.
And I think most of Kenyans especially, I've seen this really, we do not want to really accept that concept of synergy in our lives. We want to be a one-man, you know, a sort of a maverick. You want to do it yourself, you know, all things rolled into one. I've seen this in the music industry especially. You want to be the producer, and you want to also be the singer in it, and also you want to do the mastering of that particular project that you're working on. The concept of synergy, the concept of mentorship also in your life, it's very key. And I think we really do lack that in this country because we want to do things on your own, don't you think?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that out here. And people sometimes just want to, I mean, like you're saying, be all these things rolled into one. All great men, somebody said all great men have succeeded in proportion to us. They've channeled their energies to one particular line. And when you realize that I'm good at writing, I'll leave the editing to somebody else. I'll leave the layout, the book layout to somebody else. There are other people who I might try and do a job on the cover, but why take away that time from my core strength, which is writing, and try to be all that while actually I could just bring in somebody else. See, I mean, tap in from other people's abilities and help me get where I need to get much easier while I keep my eyes on what is my core purpose or what is my core strength as an author, as a coach, and as a speaker. So it's important, even as one pursues what they feel they're called to pursue, to realize that you don't do too many things very well. And just play by your strings. Stick to what you do well. And let whatever you can do well and you need for your drive to your aspirations, get somebody else who can do that. I mean, just pass it on to somebody else. Let them be a part of your story. Nobody can be great alone. It's been said.
Right. Let's talk about now the place of mentorship, because I believe it is very key to have a mentor in your life. And of course, even you, I believe, so you do have a mentor.
Yes, sure.
Yes. How important is it for someone to have a mentor?
Mentorship is very key. Actually drawing from the same principle that we were talking about earlier, standing on the shoulders of giants. Because you're looking at somebody who's been through it and has come out on the other end, who can actually tell you, hey, this is how the pipeline, the leadership pipeline looks like. And that helps you cut the learning curve. Because this guy has gone through it, he could actually tell you, hey, slow down. You need to pace yourself. You don't arrive there overnight the way you think. I didn't get to CEO, or I didn't get to best athlete in the country in a span of 1 year. I didn't wake up today and by the end of the year, I'm right at the head of the pack. No, it doesn't happen that way. So the mentor helps you to see the bigger picture, but also helps you look at the smaller steps, break it down into smaller steps, and sometimes helps you also get back into the ring when you feel like it's all lost, because sometimes you come out and possibly you had a lousy day on the field and you feel like, no, really, I'm not great. I'm not wired for this. I'm not cut out for this. The mentor helps you to just look at it positively. I read something from one of the greatest football coaches, Vince Lombardi, and this guy said, you're never as good as people say when you win, but you're also never as bad as they say when you lose. And sometimes in the pursuit of our purposes or aspirations in life, it's very easy for you to get caught up in the sentiments of the moment. And sometimes maybe you've lost and you got all this picture about yourself, possibly, no, I'm not cut out for this, I'm just going to try something else. But a mentor comes in and helps you and tells you, hey, it's a fact that everybody gets to be lousy at some point. So just get back into the ring and get on with it. And that's the beauty of a mentor. He's been there, he's done that, and is able to come in at your level and help you see both the bigger picture, but also help you through the small steps that build up to the ultimate.
In the same breath, you really talk about reading personal development books, which is very key and also has really enabled you to be where you are right now. As Kenyans, do you think we really have that reading culture that we can accommodate even maybe even a pamphlet to afford some time to just read it for some encouragement?
Well, having the culture, what I would say is culture evolves over time. And I've had it said all over, especially now that this is my second book. And people say, no, we don't have a reading culture, we don't have a reading culture. But the fact is, culture evolves and grows over time. And we're at the point where people are realizing that it's important to invest in developing yourself as an individual. My mentor, Jim Rohn, said the same, that you could actually, formal education will make your living, but self-education will make your fortune. Most of the times people just leave it at the academics. Once they're finished with a degree, they never pick a book for the rest of their lives. Read newspapers, read the other kind of things, but never pick a book that would help them shape their minds, help them shape their worldview. And I listened to somebody say the other day that it's interesting that the amount of knowledge out there is doubling at a very fast rate. That we're looking at a point that maybe in about 10 years, knowledge will be doubling every 2 weeks. Now that should tell you as an individual, if you're stuck to what you knew 10 years ago, definitely you'd find yourself obsolete or irrelevant to cope with the challenges of a modern day world.
And I think which is now also a bottleneck right now, because we have a lot of information. There's a sort of information glut that is happening right now in the world. We're being bombarded from the social media, the mainstream media, with knowledge. Books are written all over. We are wondering, okay, which way to go? Even that could be a reason why maybe people now detest reading right nowadays, because they cannot keep up.
Yeah, that's true. There's quite a bit of information overload currently. I mean, there's all these kind of emails and social media and everything just trying to get your audience. And I think then that now brings in the element of what is it that you're passionate about? Because personally, I try to limit myself and my reading to what I'm passionate about, what feeds that. That's where I draw the lines as far as my reading goes, and my exposure to other materials or to other media goes. That helps you sift through, because not everything out there is helpful. So it's just for you to just drill down and say, okay, fine, this is where I'm going as an athlete, as a professional, whatever it is you're doing. And then say, okay, fine, for me to get there, this is the kind of information that I need. Then expose yourself to that information and try and, much as possible, block out the rest.
Right. There is the Eve ratio that you really talk about, education versus entertainment ratio. And we normally slant on the other side of the pendulum, I should say, where it says it's all about entertainment, that most of us, we really go for entertainment. When you're given a chance to choose between education and entertainment, we're bombarded with entertainment everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the times, I mean, given a choice, people swing more towards the side of entertainment for the simple reason that sometimes entertainment doesn't necessarily make a demand on you as an individual. May not necessarily make a demand on you to change as an individual, may not necessarily require of you to go out of your comfort zone for you to get entertainment. But on the flip side, education, and I actually wrote that about it, education versus entertainment ratio, you find that it's so skewed to one direction. People spending so much on the side of entertainment while giving so little attention to education. And I'm not just talking education, going to school and getting a degree and all that, because as Kenyans, we're good at that. People do that, get the degree, get the diploma, get whatever paper they want. But after that, they just...
That's it.
That's it. But you see, going by what I was saying, that the rate of knowledge is doubling every other day. I listened to somebody and they're saying the answers are constantly changing. And I heard a story about Albert Einstein. One time he was teaching and he said, well, he gave the same exam that he had given last year. And a student came to him and said, but professor, you gave the same exam last year. What is happening here? He said, no, it's the same exam, but the answers have changed. And so why I'm talking about education versus entertainment is a kind of education that helps you to keep abreast with what is happening, to realize that you need to sharpen your mind, invest in your development as an individual, develop your mental capacity as an individual so that you're able to handle the changes, so that you're not using yesterday's answers for today's challenges, because it may hardly be fit for the kind of challenges that we are having today. So the gist there is just to get people to realize that, hey, investing in your education, and I'm not just talking academics, but personal development, picking a book, I mean, a book like this, that would help you change your attitudes of mind, change the way you perceive the world, change the way you approach issues in life. That would be more helpful sometimes than just popping in a musical CD that gets you all kind of dancing and all that, but doesn't really help you where the rubber meets the road, which is where now your aspirations are concerned.
Right, which brings also to the fore the question of really using your dead time. You know, a lot of us, we have, we caught up in traffic jams in the morning, especially in the mornings when the snarl-up is just outrageous. And we don't utilize that time. And in your book, you talk about mobile university. I think this is a concept that was developed by Success University founder, Morris.
Yeah.
Tell us more on what mobile university is all about.
Mobile university, I really love that. Somebody said that on average, in a city like this, you'd on average possibly commute for about 2 hours to and from work daily. And he said in a year, you could actually have the equivalent of 2 university semesters in a year if you commute every day for about 2 hours. And that's what a lot of us do. And he found that if you're able to turn that time into learning time, instead of cursing the government and complaining about the government because they're not doing so much about the infrastructure and getting you all bogged down in jams and whatnot, or instead of listening to some mindless programs that don't really feed much into developing your mental capacity, into developing your worldview, into shaping the kind of a perspective that you have as an individual, you could actually turn that time into learning time. And in the process of 4 years, you could actually have the equivalent of a university degree just from mobile university, popping in an audio CD into for those who are driving, into your CD player in the car, instead of just whining about the traffic jam. That would help you possibly get at work more prepared as an individual. You realize, hey, the kind of attitude that I bring to work is important. Something that shapes your mind such that you come to work engaged and not coming out of all this an overdose of complaining and whining and murmuring that really gets you on a wrong footing getting into the workplace. So that's important. And sometimes some might even be saying, maybe I don't drive. So really, I'm at the mercy of maybe the matatu driver and whatever they play. Of course, that's a convenient path to take. You could actually get a disc, whatever player, a CD player, and just carry it with you. Pop in a CD
or an iPod.
Yeah, or an iPod. Yeah, sure. That's more with the technology now, or an iPod, and just listen to something that builds up your capacity as an individual, or even just carry a book and just tuning in. That would help you. The average man, they say, reads about a book every other 2 months, the average. But if you're able to do that, reclaim some of that downtime that we have, either in traffic, because people complain, no, I don't have time. I mean, I'm off to work early, back late, so I don't even have time to read. Of course, that's a convenient path again. If you're able to reclaim some of that downtime, get a book instead of just listening to some radio, something that may not really be helpful as far as where you want to go is concerned. Get a book, get an audio CD, and just invest in the miracle of your mind. Yeah.
Now, you say you're a member of the Toastmasters, and of course, off camera, you're telling me that we bet 2 years ago. And I was just planning to nail you and find out, okay, which club are you coming from the Toastmasters International? Because I wondered, so which club are you in? Because I've never seen in Kwanza, Kenya.
No, not Kwanza, Kenya, but I'm at Sema Toastmasters. I'm actually the secretary of Sema Toastmasters.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Tell me, so how has Toastmasters really helped you to be the person that you were today?
Toastmasters has really been quite helpful because like I told you, my life mission is using coaching, writing, and speaking to help people and organizations be the best they can be. And so Toastmasters actually addresses the speaking part of it, and not just the speaking part of it, but also leadership part of it. And Toastmasters has been very helpful in the sense that they have this leadership program that is intertwined with the speaking course that helps you just get through the basics of speaking. It's good to be talented. It's good to have a gifting, but you need to get the gift shaped. It's just like a diamond that is somewhere in some locked in the ore before it's removed. You need to get to a place where you team up with others, again, who have been further down that road, who are able to shape you up and get you to understand what are the principles of speaking. I mean, speaking is not just getting up, having a booming voice and just going out there and speaking, but it has helped me to just get on this speaking journey, know how to say it, body language, eye contact, all that. It has helped me just to tool myself as a speaker, but also as a leader, because there's also the leadership part of it, where you actually do some projects that help you just build on your leadership as an individual. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think back. Well, I think we met at the dinner at the Safari Park during that time. Were you giving a speech during that time, or?
No. Actually, at that time, I was just signing up. I just signed up for membership, so I was still pretty new on the block.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are you now a competent communicator, or what level are you at right now?
I'm at about level 6. I'm at speech level 6, working on it. Hopefully before the year ends, I should be a competent communicator.
Right. Interesting. Now, avoiding the cool haves, the wool haves, and the should haves of lives, living a life without regrets. What can you advise a person right now who's maybe out there, who's wondering, yes, now I've just completed school and I'm wondering, yes, I do not want to go into roads that will lead me somewhere that I will regret. What will be your best advice to that particular individual out there?
My best advice would be, I could sum this in the words of, and I love basketball, used to play basketball, the words of legendary basketball coach John Wooden, who said that there's a choice we have to make in everything we do. But remember, the choice that you make ultimately makes you. The kind of choices that you make as an individual, yes, you're out of school. Of course, there are all these opportunities that are available, but the kind of choices that you make today ultimately make you. Nothing just happens to you suddenly. It's a consequent build-up of the choices, small choices you've made over time that actually ultimately compound either to success in your career or your pursuits, or failure in the same career or pursuits. So just take heed to the kind of choices that you make. Are they the kind of choices? Are they your choices? Whatever kind of choices you make, are they your choices, or they are possibly maybe your parents' choices, maybe they're your community's choices, maybe they're your peers' choices, but not your own choices. So it's important to look at the whole sphere of your life. What do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? What do you feel is a purpose for which you're here? Then make choices that help you align with that purpose.
And what would you tell the parents who really want to see their children living their dreams? Yeah, they were never the doctors that they wanted to be, but now they want the kids to be the doctors and the pilots and the engineers.
Well, being a parent, okay, my kids are still young, pretty young. But I feel sometimes as parents that we also need to, it's good to advise, but sometimes as parents also we need to step back a bit and sometimes allow our children to explore. What is it that they could possibly be? And for those who feel like, okay, I wanted him to be a doctor, you see, that's what you wanted him to be. But what did he really want to be? I know sometimes some of those choices are made at some levels when possibly maybe the kids are still, people are still a bit young at just late teens, where sometimes they're still young, they may not really know what they want to do in life. But still the same, if he's not become what you felt as a parent he should, then all is not lost. Possibly, maybe it's just still a good deal. Then they could possibly just get to discover for themselves what they actually want to be. So it's not lost, even if you wanted to be that, even if maybe the young person wanted to be that particular thing and they never got to be that. They could still be that. I mean, I talked to you about Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC. At 65, he founded this, what has become now a worldwide phenomenon. So even then, it's never too late to be what you could have been. There's still an opportunity to go back and just be that.
Finally, as we can see, there is quite a change in our education curricula right now. And it seems like the government has had a certain epiphany. Oh, there is talent. We need to focus and train our focus on talents right now. Do you think this is quite a considerable breakthrough in terms of now training our focus on talents as compared to the other curricula, which was actually just a regurgitation of what we are taught? It was more of teacher-centered learning.
Yeah, definitely. Things are changing. And I would not sit here to pretend to be an authority on matters education, formal education. But I could just throw in my 2 cents here and say that things are changing. We've come from a system where we use, even at university, you used to come in and the lecturer is the authority and he just just downloads on you. Well, right now I think there's a lot of interactive learning, and realizing that the lecturer is not necessarily the final authority on issues to do with academics, that actually the lecturer could step back and actually allow the students also to bring something to the table. And so it becomes an interactive process, and also again, it allows for people to channel themselves towards what they feel they're best at. Yeah.
Now you have Greatness Clinic Limited.
Yes.
What really transpires there? What do you really do?
The Greatness Clinic is an executive coaching, executive and leadership coaching outfit, where we work with the individuals as well as organizations to help them improve both personal and organizational effectiveness. You have organizations or individuals who are getting into senior positions of management or leadership in whichever area they're involved in, and sometimes they need help with that transition. Sometimes they need help to improve on their targets, performance targets. Sometimes they just need help with interpersonal skills, how to relate. Now that you've become a leader, you're in charge of other people below you. You have some followers. How do you need to relate with those people? So we work with the individuals and organizations just to help them improve effectiveness, improve on their results, improve on just performance issues. So basically, it's a coaching outfit that helps executives and leaders improve on their potential.
Right. Now, this year we're having the electioneering year, of course, and people are selling hope. People are selling hope. And earlier, I think last year, I had Derek Mbanga, who's also a member of Toastmasters, coming here on set, and he was selling that politicians are approaching him now, to train them on how to really execute and give speeches with mastery and excellence. And I'm wondering, yes, is it now time for you to really do it with these politicians? Because they're realizing, of course, now giving speeches is very key. We saw just 2 weeks ago when Raphael Tuju was unleashing his power party. He really gave a moving speech, really, I should say. Is this the way to go for the politicians? How important is a speech or speeches in terms of you garnering for votes from people?
Definitely. Speaking is integral in not just in politics, but even in day-to-day life. How you deliver what you have would draw the line between whether people would actually follow or people will be put off. So on the political scene, it's still as important to learn how to speak and speak well. Not just grab a microphone and just let loose on whatever comes to your head, but prepare as a speaker. And not just, I would be interested in helping in the direction, but so long as what is ultimately conveyed is all about the people. It's all about, I read an interesting quote, and they say that the politician has his eyes on the next election, while the statement or something like that, it's available on Amazon.com.
Right. Felix, I really do appreciate you coming to our studios this morning to talk to us about your book, The Quest for Greatness, and of course, talking about motivational speaking and the life of a coach and where you really came from and where you are right now. We really thank you for this salutary effort that you're making. Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Right. There you are. I think now you've been given a zing back to your step if you're feeling down in the dumps. Of course, we've been talking to Felix Onyango, who's a life coach and also the director of Greatness Clinic Limited here in town. If you really want to be that prolific writer, if you want to be that good orator, there is training for you that you can do. And of course, you can learn more from the Quest for Greatness book, vital principles to help you be the best you can be. I tell you, this is a really compelling book. It makes quite a lucid reading and it interesting small bit chunks of chapters that you have there, so it's not really long chapters. You can always pick a page and go through that, flip through that one day at a time. Right, I'll leave you with the words of Zig Ziglar, who says, don't be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific. Think about that and have a lovely day.